We took a walking tour of La Boca, a barrio of Buenos Aires, on our second week here. When we got off the bus, the pollution in the air and the water became immediately apparent. The river is so contaminated in this area that it is completely devoid of any animal or fish life. We walked across the bridge where the economic division of Buenos Aires is very obvious. To the north you can see the skyline of the city with lots of tall fancy buildings, and to the south old train cars and houses. La Boca is the perfect example of a barrio in the south that has struggled to establish industry and business. Most of the housing consists of conventillos, or what we would call tenements. 78% of the people living in La Boca are below the poverty line, 55% don't have proper sewage, and 35% don't have access to running water. However, most people who come to La Boca come for the tourist area known as El Caminito. It is a former dump transformed into a residential area by a group of artists. Most of the houses were made out of leftover material from the shipyards, including wood and corrugated metal, which they painted bright colors because that was what was left over. This area became a mecca for immigrant artists in the early 20th century. Like most of Buenos Aires, most of the immigrants coming into La Boca were from Europe, specifically from Italy. Starting in the 1960s, this area became much more touristy, and buildings with cement foundations began to appear. Walking down the cobbled streets, it's hard to imagine the poverty that the former inhabitants were living in. Today, this area is a tourist trap for foreigners seeking tango in the streets and souvenirs to bring home. El Caminito is known for its brightly painted houses, but throughout La Boca you can see beautiful pieces of art all along the street. Just down the street from El Caminito is the famous Bombonera, the stadium home to La Boca Juniors, the football club popular in southern Buenos Aires. Most travel guides and websites recommend only visiting the tourist part of La Boca, El Caminito, because other areas tend to be more dangerous and less monitored. I was glad that we were able to take a tour and walk around the rest of La Boca to get a sense of the area and the way that its inhabitants live today.